All right, here we go. Monday Night Knicks. Salute to Knicks Nation out there. This is a special edition podcast of Knicks Fan TV. CP from Knicks Fan TV here. Joining me right now is special guest. He is the Knicks beat writer for the New York Post. Mark Berman on the line. Mark, how you doing, man? Welcome back to the show.
Thanks so much. A little tired from that 2-game road trip. Just got back in, but it was a pretty fun trip.
Yeah. Listen, man, the squad is certainly coming together and strung a couple wins together. Unfortunate loss last night in a double OT thriller, but we'll certainly touch on that. But let's touch on the events that transpired last week. Last week was supposed to be highlighted by the trade deadline, and not only did we have a trade, but we had the president fired and a new president potentially hired. What did you make of the timing of, number one, Mills' ouster and the naming of Leon Rose on the trade deadline? What'd you make of the timing there?
Yeah, well, we've written a couple of stories about the timing. One of the stories was, according to sources, is that Dolan was afraid it was going to get out that he had already started researching Mills' replacement. And he almost assuredly had spoken to Leon Rose before
For sure.
Mills got officially fired. But he was doing his due diligence, thinking about other candidates. And Dolan just did not want to be in a position where it came out that he's already interviewing Steve's replacement while he was still in place. So they both agreed, and I think Steve kind of knew. Maybe he was doing a little behind his back, but I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
But they both agreed, let's make this official and make an announcement. And it was also 2 days before the trade deadline. And the other issue that we've run into was Scott and Steve had a difference of opinion on what to do with Marcus Morris. Steve wanted to see if, unless there's some whopping offer for an all-star caliber type young player, he wanted to keep Marcus and see if they could sign him long term. And Scott, and I guess Jim Dolan too, felt that, you know what, we're not going to throw out so much of our cap money at Marcus Morris at age 30. So let's just trade him for future assets.
Yeah.
They did that. Mills was fired. Probably wasn't thrilled with the trade because I don't think he would have just taken a late first-round pick and a second-round pick. But what's done is done, and we just you look at the 2020 draft, they're set up pretty well. I don't know if fans really realize how well they're set up for 2020. They have 3 picks, possibly in the top 35.
Yeah, no, it's this new regime is certainly coming in with a nice asset list, asset inventory to work with. But what do you make of it in terms of Leon Rose? Couple things. A lot of the research you do on him is well connected, well respected around the league, so on and so forth, and all that is great. But almost every opinion on him comes with that but. It's a learning curve, but he's got a lot on his plate, but he's going to have to figure it out. Even Carmelo's saying he's going to have to figure it out. Then what was the impetus? Because to me, it seems like there's a lot of work to be done here. It just came off to me, this hiring, as a free agent, stargazing type of chase, more so than, really trying to build this thing from the ground up. What did you make of going that route with the player agent?
Yeah, I know the stargazing angle got some steam because he's well connected with, say, Karl Anthony Towns, Devin Booker. Obviously, he had Carmelo Anthony. Who knows if he tries to bring back Carmelo for one final season next year. But I think Dolan got it in his head. He's tried a lot of different methods in presidents, and he says, all right, I see this little trend catching fire with Bob Myers and Pelinka, although some other agents haven't worked out, like Lon Babby in Phoenix and Arn Tellem in Detroit. Detroit's kind of been mediocre, although Stan Van Gundy made the Blake Griffin trade, and that's destroyed the franchise. But he got it in his head, maybe from Steve Stout, the new branding guy, trying to change the Dolan image. And Leon is, one of the most well-connected agents out there, a former LeBron agent. And listen, the agents scout. I mean, they scout college players because they want to sign the creme de la creme. I mean, they are out there at college games. So there's so many things that Leon does that a president does. Hammering out deals. He's just on the other side of the table, but he's hammering out all these contracts, and he hammered out a terrific contract with Carmelo Anthony when he re-signed, and he got that no-trade clause in there that really hurt the Knicks. I mean, the fact is that Leon has hurt the Knicks quite a bit.
Right, and that's what I wanted to get to next, because how fair is it about the Bargnani trade and Chris Smith and all of that? How fair is it to put that criticism on him?
Well, when I wrote it, I mean, some people were saying, well, he's doing the best for his client. But Leon, he helped engineer the original Carmelo deal where the Knicks gave up too much. He thought the trade was going to turn them into a terrific team. And listen, they did win 54 games in the aftermath.
Right.
So, Denver didn't exactly reap the benefits of those assets. But the Bargnani trade was worse. Carmelo wanted another perimeter threat to open the floor for him. And, Leon thought his client Bargnani would be a perfect addition. And listen, Masai worked the trade, but it was Leon and Wesley who, were really trying to help out Carmelo and help out the Knicks. And it turned out that it was a disaster. And the Curry deal, Leon thought that Curry would flourish with Isaiah Thomas, and it didn't happen. But yeah, listen, he's still doing what's best for his client, and not what's essentially best for the Knicks. But you'd think he's bringing Curry to the Knicks and he wants his client to win, and it didn't work out. But listen, he's a very smart guy. Everyone likes him in the league. I think there's a lot of potential there, but there's a lot of inexperience too. So, it's tough to guarantee that he'll have success.
Right. Now you mentioned the inexperience. Hopefully he can bring in a well-experienced GM. You had mentioned some potential names, a couple lackluster ones. Chris Wallace, former GM of the Grizzlies, Bobby Marks, former GM of the Nets, Malik Rose, who's an assistant there at Detroit. Well, timing-wise, when do you expect them to kind of make a decision on that? You also mentioned Scott Perry could still be in the running based on his association with West, but when do you think they would kind of round out the team?
It's a big mystery. I mean, we're on the road and we're with some of these scouts, and they're kind of in the dark. I mean, they're still scouting the games. They still are hoping they're going to be in the war room in late June, making these 3 picks, the 2 first-round picks and the early second-round pick. But no one knows for sure. No one knows what essentially the timetable on what Leon is going to want to do. He definitely does want to hire a GM. I think Scott has a chance to stick around maybe in a different role. Hopefully. I like Scott a lot, and I think he is a good college guy, and maybe he could, move into the director of the college scouting. But the timetable, we don't even know when they're exactly going to announce it. I feel they're kind of delaying it until after the All-Star break. Then we only have 2 more days.
Right.
And I think Leon's going to be in Chicago, so I don't know, maybe they could do it Wednesday, but I don't have any strong indication that they will.
Okay.
I am told that Leon will be around at the All-Star weekend. But yeah, the timing is something that even the Knicks employees really don't know. And Scott Perry was in a good mood on the road because they were winning games. But you could tell there's some moments we've seen Scott, and he's looked a little down.
Yeah, damn. Tough business, man. And then another person who could be, negatively impacted by all this, unfortunately, is interim coach Mike Miller. I mean, I like what Miller's brought to the team. Obviously, you could see the difference in the play between he and Fizdale. They're executing a lot better. Yeah, you can point that to the chemistry as well, but I like how Miller is there teaching. I like how he's just about X's and O's and really nothing else. But obviously, with the new regime coming in, it's likely that he could be on the way out. And just a couple minutes ago, you released an article pointing to Tom Thibodeau and Jeff Van Gundy as potential replacements. What's your takes on that?
Yeah, listen, Leon doesn't know Mike Miller. And Mike has done a good job, 13-19. They've had a 3-game winning streak. They've had a 4-game winning streak. But I do temper the enthusiasm because the schedule got a lot easier.
It's easier, yeah.
Mike has only beaten 2 teams that have right now a winning record. So he's taking care of business against some of the mediocre teams in the league, which is really good.
Right.
But he hasn't. He beat Indiana and he beat Miami. Those are the 2 teams.
Yeah.
Listen, the defense has been much better. I think they move the ball. There's more strategy. There's more adjustments. He's done a better job than Fizdale. There's no doubt about it. But, some people are wondering if Fizdale is, one of the, I don't want to be too harsh, but he is right now technically the worst coach in Knicks history, record-wise. But, anyway, Leon doesn't know Mike, and he knows Tom Thibodeau very well. He's a CAA client, Tom, and he knows Jeff. Jeff likes him a lot. Jeff is hoping that Mike Miller survives. He'd love to see it. He likes Mike a lot. But who knows? I'm pretty sure I've been told that, Jeff and Tom are going to get interviews. And maybe if Jeff gets the job, maybe he actually puts Mike Miller on his staff as the defensive coordinator. But, yeah, I mean, unless Mike Miller, gets this team into the playoffs, which is a big long shot. I just don't see him coming back in the head coaching role, although I could see him hanging on as part of a new coaching staff.
Interesting. Definitely. Hey, listen, I would definitely welcome Jeff back to the squad. That was my favorite coach on this team for sure, so I would definitely
but the game is a little different.
Yeah.
Since 2006. I mean, it's a 3-point shooting league.
Right.
But Jeff was not a great offensive coach anyway.
Right.
He was a great defensive coach. And the defensive stuff is still similar. And he's just got a great defensive mind and a great motivator on defense. So I think he'll do very well.
Real quick on the team, present day, buyout candidates. You said Bobby Portis wants to stick around. It looks like Ellington could be a potential candidate. It was unfortunate that he starts to play better after the trade deadline, but that's neither here nor there. What about Harkless? Harkless seems like a guy to me. They say he was sick. To me, it seems like he was sick from, going from the first team to the worst team. But is Harkless a potential buyout candidate as well, in your opinion?
So we spoke to Harkless in Detroit before the Detroit game on Saturday night. And, he gave us all the lines about, the kid from Queens, it's his dream to play for the Knicks.
Yeah.
But Bobby Marks of ESPN, and he's, pretty clued in, he said, look out in late February for Maurice to maybe decide that he might want to go to another team if his agent can find a playoff contender that could use him.
Yeah.
My sense is the Knicks have told him that, his playing time is not assured like it was in Clipperland,
right.
That they don't really have a lot of plans for him to re-sign him. And as the season goes on, they're going to probably maybe play the younger players like Kevin Knox, 35, 38 minutes. So maybe Maurice, after speaking to us, maybe he's spoken to some people within the organization, and they told him, you might want to just contemplate if there is a team out there, because we can't give you major playing time. Ellington, he's been a great leader here, and he's really helped some young players. But he can shoot the three, and that's what this NBA game has become. And especially in the playoffs, you need a a three-point shooter who could come off the bench cold and knock down a couple, that's Wayne Ellington.
Yeah.
And he told us that he definitely has a decision to make, but it doesn't have to come until that deadline, which I think is early March, where you got to sign with a team before a certain
Playoff
date.
eligible, right?
Exactly, and I don't know the exact date, but I thought it was early March.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, with the Harkless thing, listen, I love the return story. I was a big fan of his in St. John's and everything, but there's just too many wings right now, especially with the young guys that need a look. Last two questions, and it pertains to the young guys versus vets kind of battle here. I don't know if you want to call this a playoff push or what. They're 5.5 games out of 8th. You're seeing guys like Peyton still get a ton of minutes. Taj last night didn't get that many. Mitch doubled his minutes, but Taj has, been starting and getting the minutes. When do you see them kind of making a transition to get some of these young guys a bit more consistent, minutes out there? Yeah,
I think it's when Leon is officially named the president, and he'll obviously have a talk with Mike, and I'm pretty sure he'll at some point have to say, listen, we're rebuilding. We traded Marcus Morris for a late first-round pick. That's what our strategy is. So if we could get Knox in there for 35 minutes, and if we could get Dennis Smith as the starting point guard, 34 minutes, and if we could get Iggy out of the G League, because he's not only is he scoring a lot, but he's now becoming a lot more efficient, I'm told. Early on in the G League, he was scoring, but the shooting percentage was low. Now he's really putting up some efficient numbers. Mm-hmm. So, and then Wooden will have, 25 games or 23 games, whatever. Probably it could be 25, because when the G League season ends, the clock stops ticking on the amount of time he can spend with the big club. So, yeah, there's going to be a time. But right now, no one's told him anything. So he's playing to win. He's playing for his record. He's playing for his career. He's playing the best players who are giving him the best chance to win. Yeah. So last night, Mitchell Robinson was outstanding, as good as I've seen him. And he rolled with him for over 30 minutes. Yeah. And Taj played a little less. But that's what Mike Miller is right now. Whoever is contributing, no matter what age you are, no matter what your contract looks like, he's going to play you more, as long as you're contributing. And that's the philosophy for Mike Miller now. Yeah. I think it changes when Leon jumps aboard.
Interesting. And last question, one of the kids that the fan base is very concerned about is Kevin Knox. And number one, his playing time has gone down dramatically since last year. Obviously, last year he was starting a lot more games. But and I don't know if you've asked this question of Miller or the front office before, but why is it, in your opinion, that the Knicks are not utilizing the G League for some of their young talent that's not playing or not playing well or lacking confidence in Knox's case? I mean, you're seeing guys like, Siakam came up through the G League. You got Sekou from Detroit coming up from the D League. You had other guys, Jonathan Isaac did a couple stints in the G League and so on. Why do you think it is that the Knicks are not utilizing the G League in that fashion?
Yeah, they do it very sparingly. Naturally, Iggy is not going to play at all, so he's in the G League. But with Kevin, they feel he's still coming off the bench and playing minutes, and they feel like right now, 14 minutes in the NBA is better than 30 in the G League, or 35 in the G League. And they still feel like if he's playing well, he'll play 25 minutes. It depends how he's doing. Yeah. He's playing better defensively. I think we could all agree. He's blocked some shots. Yeah. He's rebounding a little better. He's not getting beat off the dribble as much. He seems to be more in position. It's just offensively, there's no spark. Last year we saw so much more of it. Yeah. His confidence level is very low. I was really surprised after the Morris trade. Here, Morris is the starting small forward, and you'd think that after the trade, Miller would say, all right, Kevin Knox will start. Right. But nope, he went with a 3-guard lineup. Yeah. Even with Barrett out one night, he still went with 3 guards. Yep. Getting Bullock in at small forward. So, yeah, it's a little mystifying. I mean, Miller obviously doesn't think that major minutes for Kevin Knox is justified, considering how spotty his offensive game has been. And, when we when I talk about his defense, it's not that it's very good. It's just better, better than it has been, and it was pretty bad last season and earlier this year.
Yeah, I noticed it as well, and I think I think he could certainly benefit from just to get his confidence up and to even just work on a go-to move, other than just you know shooting a jump shot and a prayer, on his drives. He really has no intermediate go-to shot that he can really rely on. So hopefully,
I know, but I felt last year there was more stuff there.
Yeah,
I felt he was a little. Listen, I know when he went to the basket, it was a prayer. I mean, he was. He wasn't taking contact well. But I thought his three-point shot last season, there were nights where they were just dropping through, and he hasn't had that type of rush this year, that type of rhythm with the three-point shot, and it's been disappointing. I just feel it's his confidence.
Yeah, well, let's see what happens, man. I certainly want to see him playing a lot better. But, Mark, I definitely appreciate you giving us some minutes. I know you're extremely tired, a long road trip and everything. But thanks again for coming on, man. That's number 3 for you, man. That's number 3 appearances on KnicksFanTV, man. So thanks again, Mark.
Excellent. All right, I really appreciate it. I had a great time, and please ask again.
All right, no problem, man. Take it easy.
Bye.
All right. That was Mark Berman of the New York Post. Just to come on, give us a couple minutes recap. All that transpired last week, and that was a good interview, man. So definitely appreciate that. Hit that thumbs up button for your boys. Hit that thumbs up button for KnicksFanTV. We touched on the Leon Rose hiring, the timing of everything, Mills' departure, and just to sum it up, he said, with Mills, he said. Part of it was Dolan wanted to just not, have it out there that he's looking for a new president, which we probably all figured that Mills' days were numbered. And then, the fact that they disagreed on the Mars deal. The same debates that come from the chat were going into the front office, and Perry and Mills and Dolan had a disagreement on how to handle Mars. Mills wanted Mars here, sign him long term. Perry and Dolan wanted Mars dealt, which I got to side with those two guys. So on the Leon Rose topic, I touched on, it's tough to agree with, but Dolan wanting to kind of go with what's in vogue right now, what the fad is, and that is going with player agents that, have those connections in the league. To me, again, it still plays out as Dolan wanted to repair the image among the league and outside the league with hiring Leon Rose, hiring Steve Stout, which is not a bad thing. But again, I want to see what the rest of the infrastructure looks like under Leon Rose and how we're going to, what the vision is going to be. I've said that on previous shows again, what the vision is going to be from Westchester on down, scouting, everything, not just about going after big name free agents and so on. Now, the Carmelo trade, again, gives you reason for concern. The Bargnani trade gives you reason for concern. He talked about Curry, not Steph Curry, Eddie Curry. The Eddie Curry trade was, again, something that gives you, reason for concern because you want to make sure that these guys are not going to take unnecessary gambles with the assets that we have just to say, we brought in Bradley Beal. Okay, great. What's the rest of it? Just as an example. So, again, I'm going to, stay cautiously optimistic. And let's see what happens there. He gave you Thibodeau and Van Gundy as names, potential head coaching names. I like Miller. I'd love to keep Miller here and continue having him grow with the young guys. I'd love to bring Jeff Van Gundy back. Some of you guys that have been watching this show know I'm always going to be a Van Gundy guy for sure. But let's see. Like Mark was saying, and like some of the skeptics say, has to game past Van Gundy by, especially offensively. Who's going to be his offensive first assistant if he is given that job. But, listen, I would definitely welcome Jeff here. Some of the GM, picks, I'm not too, I'm not too happy with. But, and again, all that can change. And again, that's all speculation right now. But you're talking about a guy like a Chris Wallace from the Grizzlies. I mean, this guy was pretty abysmal in his 12 years with Memphis. I mean, he drafted Jaren Jackson Jr., but let's take a look at his draft record prior to that because it really wasn't much to write home about. take a look at, let me just swipe it over, hit that thumbs up button for your boy. 07 Conley, obviously no brainer. That was a franchise point guard for a while. He got Conley in there. 2008, he trades the rights to Kevin Love for the rights to OJ Mayo. Now, if you're going from it back then, I don't think it was that controversial of a deal because OJ Mayo was highly touted as a prospect. I mean, they were talking about OJ Mayo as being like, the next big thing. So he was highly touted, even though Kevin Love really splashed onto the scene with a great NCAA tournament that year. This is a tough call, but Dante Green out of Syracuse never panned out to be anything. He picked Hasheem Thabeet second in the 2009 draft ahead of James Harden, Tyreek Evans, Ricky Rubio, Steph Curry, DeMar DeRozan, Drew Holiday, Ty Lawson, Jeff Teague. So that was a dud. Damari Carroll 2009, Xavier Henry 2010, Dominique Jones, Gravis Vasquez, Tony Roten, Jordan Adams, Jarrell Martin, Wade Baldwin the fourth. I mean, this guy's resume was really, really lackluster. Really lackluster. So let's hope they don't go the Chris Wallace route. You know what I mean? Let's just hope they don't go the Chris Wallace route there. But let's see. Let's see. And Berman had mentioned, some of you guys were wondering why the Leon Rose signing was not made official yet. Berman had alluded to the fact that he needs to divest from his client interests. Remember, he's still a player agent. So he has to, pass all those books off and clear his name from all of that business before he can officially accept the role of president of basketball operations. So let's see what happens there. We do know that he currently represents Carmelo. He represents Embiid, Devin Booker, Karl Anthony Towns, and those guys. So let's see how all those connections help us out in the long run. I'm going to take a couple of calls just to get your thoughts on whatever you want to talk about. If you want to talk about the interview, talk about last night's game, whatever you guys want to talk about, man, I'll take some calls for a couple minutes and then wrap up. Remember to hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Hit that subscribe button as well. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. I haven't seen who's in there chatting, but salute to everybody, man. Let's get these calls up. All right, here we go. All right, let's see who's on the line.
2, 1.
All right, Dave, go ahead and screen some of the calls, and we'll get some callers in here. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Who's in here? We got Khalid Pasha in here, all the mods. Edgar Rivera, what's going on? Peace to Ari. Ayo Emma, what's going on? Nathaniel Hall, how you feeling? What'd you guys think of the interview? Alex Collins, what's going on? He said, "Isn't Chris Wallace the guy on Fox News?" That's the other Chris Wallace. But yeah, this is the Grizzlies' former GM, Chris Wallace, was there for 12 years, and his reputation is not that great. So hopefully they don't bring him on. You also have Bobby Marks, the former assistant general manager of the Nets, known to be a capologist, but hasn't been in the league for a while. He's been doing his cap stuff on ESPN as the mock GM, so to speak. But he's represented by CAA right now, so I guess that's where Berman, drew that connection. All right, let's hear from the first caller, Andy from Jersey. Andy, how you feeling, man?
I'm good, man. What's good, CP?
How you feeling, bro? What's good?
I'm great. Kind of just wanted to give my thoughts on kind of the new hiring of the new president and kind of where the Knicks should be going in the near future.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think the hiring of Leon Rose and Worldwide West, I'm kind of on the same side as you are. More of a cautiously optimistic. I do think it's a great hire, but from a brand perspective, I think a lot of teams or a lot of players are going to kind of look at the Knicks now. But at the same time, with Worldwide West, he's kind of been in the AAU grass market. He kind of hinted of giving John Calipari a lot of his players. And I do think that if, as a Knicks, we have an open checkbook, we need to just hire the best GM, and we need to hire all the best scouts and all the best talent. And kind of similar with the coaching. I love what Mike Miller's doing. He has the team looking actually really good. Fizz over the dribble handoffs on top of a key, it was over for that. But I do think if we don't keep him long term, I think we should bring in Jeffrey and Gundy, bring in Mark Jackson, but at the same time, say Mike Miller, kind of do similar to what Doc Rivers is doing. He has a whole bunch of head coaches on his staff. He has Mike Woodson, he has Ty Lue. So I think at the same time with the Knicks, we need to just hire all the best talent, hire all the best coaches, and just basically nurture the talent that we do have and use our assets wisely.
Okay.
But I do think as a GM coming forward, that we look pretty good, but we got to be optimistic.
Appreciate the call, man. Cautiously optimistic is where I'm at as well. And you heard Berman. Maybe if Van Gundy's selected, maybe he keeps Mike Miller on as his defensive assistant. You never know. I just like the way that Mike Miller is just about basketball with him. It's just about X's and O's. It's not about ego. It's not about personality in New York. He just wants to do his job, focus on the team, coach the team up, and go home. And that's what I like about him. They're playing hard for him. You could see that. They're playing very hard for him. Somebody asked what the asset inventory is looking like right now. We have 7 first-round picks in the next 4 years, 2020 through 2023. We got the Clippers pick in 2020, which is part of the Marcus Morris deal. We have the 2 Dallas picks starting in 2021 and 23, part of the Porzingis deal. You want to call the 2021, we have a right to swap with the Clippers, a first-round pick, but, unless Armageddon or Hell freezes over, we're not going to get that opportunity, but it's there if we wanted it to be. And then also we have 3 second-round picks in the next 2 years. None of our own, but we still have it. So, again, let's see what happens. But, to Andy's point, just got to make sure that the structure around Rose is proper. Pal, what's going on, pal? Pal from LA, what's good, bro?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear, bro. Try if I'm on speakerphone, just take it off, bro.
I'm driving right now. I'll be unwise. Is it terrible?
Nah, go ahead. Just be careful on the road. Go ahead, bro. You good?
Okay, all right. I missed the show, but before I start, everybody, y'all need to smash that thumbs up button, man. Your boy's working hard.
Hit that thumbs up button.
I don't need you to bring you Chris Childs. He brought you Chris Childs. He brought you Chuck D, and now he brought you Berman. Come on, man. that deserves 1 thumbs up. Berman. Every single person in this channel right now.
Yeah, baby.
Do the right thing. If the Knicks can't do the right thing, you can do the right thing. Support the brand, man. All right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I missed the show, but I just want to get your opinion on this, right? Because right now I think, Miller is really handling the situation well, considering his staff is Fizz's old staff. Not only that, he got thrown in the middle of the season, and then he's working with a bunch of players that he's not familiar with, that he did not go to training camp with. Do you think, besides just Mike Miller, do you think we should stick with the coach right now, or do you think we should try our hand out and trying a different coach? I just want to get your opinion on that. Like I said, man, that's about it. But yes, I just want your opinion on that.
Okay. Yeah. Appreciate it, bro. I would stick with Miller, man. I would stick. Listen, obviously I want to see who everybody is coming in, all the pool and everybody that's being considered. But I would strongly consider bringing Miller back. The players are responding to him. He's coached up in the G League. It's a player that the young players can grow with, right? This is still a 2 to 3 year, probably even 4 year project that these guys have to deal with here. So I would bring Miller back. The players are responding to him. They're playing hard for him. He hasn't playing defense. Maybe not last night. They gave up 140 points, but it happens. They're responding to him. And so I think as the talent continues to be upgraded, obviously you want to see the youngsters playing better. Put him in the G League. Put Kevin Knox in the G League. But I think Miller deserves a chance. I think Miller definitely deserves a chance. What do you guys think in the chat, man? What do you say? Keep Miller or go another direction? Leave a comment in the chat. Let me know what you guys are thinking. SB says he would keep him. Father Peace is saying Sean Brown. So a lot of you guys, a strong consensus saying that you guys want to keep Mike Miller on board. I would certainly consider it, but I just have a feeling these guys want to go big name, splash. So, but again, if it's Van Gundy, I wouldn't have a problem with it. JJ, what's going on? JJ from Brooklyn, how you feeling?
Yo, what up, bro? How's everything, man?
What's good, man?
Chilling, man. I just want to say real quick, like, just the young kids. I just feel like we're not developing. It's just like, what's the goal of the season? Make some fake playoff run and, You know, and then like you just said, I just want to mention real quick. You mentioned why can't we send Knox down to the G League? I think with the Knicks, correct me if you think I'm wrong. Like I just think we worried about perception so much. It's like, oh man, we just sent the kid down that we drafted in the lottery. You know, whereas like the Magic, they could send down Jonathan Isaac because there's not that pressure or that backlash. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it could be a perception
thing. Roles,
it could certainly be.
Yeah, go ahead.
This could certainly be a perception thing. You know, I definitely want to see Knox getting some more minutes, whether it's here or the G League. Put ISO in the G League. ISO's not playing a single minute. Throw him in the G League. You say his defense isn't good, put him in the G League to work on his defense. You say he doesn't pass, put him in the G League. It's the same system. Put him in the G League to work on his facilitating and whatnot. You got Kenny up there. Let him and Kenny run those pick and rolls with Iggy on the wing, Kev on the wing. Exactly. Let them go out there and ball.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Now let me just say, like I don't know, people just say, oh, play Knox, but play Knox 30 minutes for what? This coach needs every win. He's trying to play for his job. Would you play Knox all those minutes if you needed every win? Come on, man.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. And DSJ same way, man. And appreciate the call. I just want to run through all the calls and make sure we get it in before we wrap up. But I definitely understand it. I hear where Berman is coming from. Obviously, the guy's coaching for his resume. He's going to go with the guys that give him the best chance to win. And listen, also, when we brought in some of these vets, right, and we had these shows early in the summertime, I did see a role for teaching these young guys, especially from Taj. And you saw Mitch give him that credit last night. Mitch, during last night's game, and he was close to dominant in that fourth quarter. And he credited Taj for making him come out and just be forceful. And dominate the game and enforce his will out there. And you saw that from Mitch. You saw this was one of those games where Mitch's impact was very much felt. And he gave a lot of credit to Taj for mentoring him. So I think there is a role for guys like a Taj. Ellington has been known to be a leader. Obviously, Morris, what he brought. You know, I think that does matter. I think that certainly does matter. So it's a fine line. It's a fine balance. And they have to figure it out. I don't think Peyton needs to get those, predominant starters minutes going forward. If you're going to try to keep winning some of these games, try to push for the playoffs, give it another week or two, throttle that down. Throw Frank back up there. If you're not going to throw DSJ in the G League, throw DSJ back up there. They are on the contract for next year. And I would look at Peyton and say, listen, you're a good backup. And maybe you come back next year as a good backup. He's a CAA client, so we'll see if Rose and those guys want to deal with him. But I definitely think they should be considering the G League as well. Ari, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, CT? How you doing?
How you feeling, bro?
I'm good. So, well, before I get into that, I kind of disagree, man. I think that you got to go for wins. I think this whole tanking and develop the young guys. I mean, that's what practice is for. You develop and practice. Excuse me. If you want to really develop your game, then you should be showing up early to practice. You should be staying late. You should be getting shots up. During All-Star break, you should be putting in that work. I think when it comes to during the game, you have to try to win because it's part of changing the culture and the perception around the league. And I think it's good for a young team to get accustomed to winning habits. So I kind of disagree with that. But besides that, with regards to Leon Rose, I think like we always say, like it seems like he's stargazing, and obviously that is the main, that seems to be the main point of Dolan's move. But we just can't go all in on stargazing like we did with Mills and Perry in 2020. We should go all in on developing the youth and, developing through the draft and building a team, but stargaze at the same time. Like it can't hurt, right?
Yeah.
So I think that is what to do. And that starts with hiring a good GM. With regards to Mike Miller, personally, I would extend him for one more year because next year's team's not going to change much anyway. And then kind of like go at free agents maybe and say like, we'll let you have input on who the coach is moving forward or whatever. I think they should extend him for one more year and give him like a real chance to see if he should earn the job, but only for one more year. And the last thing I want to say is I have a bold prediction to make right now. All right. I know I'm going to get heat in the chat. I have a bold prediction to make.
All right.
But I'm going to tell you right now. I'm telling you right now. We should all be very, very keen on what's going on in New Orleans right now, because Zion is there. He's the face of the NBA, and he's definitely the face of that organization. And Brandon Ingram's going to be a free agent in 2021. And he's going to be 23 years old. And what I think is going to happen. This is my bold prediction. I think Brandon Ingram is going to want to be the number one option and have all the lights on him. I think he's going to demand a trade from New Orleans during the middle of next year because of the Zion thing. And I think the Knicks should not trade all their assets for Brandon Ingram. But I think he's going to try to force his way out of New Orleans. And the only place I could see him really landing is in New York. And I think that, I think that's going to be Leon Rose's first test as a GM. Like, does he make that trade or not? Hopefully he doesn't make that trade and tries to sign him as a free agent. But that's my bold prediction. So I'm on the record for saying that, and tell Serge to tape this, right?
My bold prediction, Ari, is that devil's lettuce is getting to your head, man, because I don't see that happening, bro. I really don't see that happen. I don't know the type of person that Brandon Ingram is. I couldn't see, that New Orleans Pelicans is like NBA Duke. He's got all his guys over there, man. So I don't see that. You got Redick, you got Zion, you got Ingram. They got their fraternity over there, man. I don't see him, having an ego this early where he wants to get out of there. Not like KD did. It's still early. Still very early for Ingram, man. I don't even think about that Ingram thing because to me it's just a pipe dream. There's no chance New Orleans shakes him loose. You think David Griffin, who just got there and is building something nicely there, is going to let him shake loose? No chance. No chance, man. Sorry, Ari, man. I don't know. You gotta pluck those seeds out of that lettuce, man. That lettuce is smelling kind of funky right now. I don't know, man. I'm not sure what's in that batch, but you got to check that out. Jay Boogie, what's going on, bro? Hello?
Hey, what's going on with you, CP? How you doing, man? You doing all right this evening?
Yeah, man. How you feeling, bro?
Man, I'm doing all right, man. Hey, man, I'm going to give you straight up facts, man. Dudes got to get in the gym. They got to get in the gym and want it. They got to get in the gym and work hard. They're not working hard. On the off season, all they doing is playing free rec with their mans and all that. Nah, they got some money. Go buy you somebody that can really put you on how to show you how to work on your game. Point out the things that you're not developed and what's missing in your game. You got people like God, Sham God. They do stuff like this, man. Mm-hmm. But these guys, they don't want to work for they don't want to work for what they need to have, man. And as long as they don't want to work and get what they need to have, you're going to find them right out of the league. They don't need to go down to the G League. They need to go and work, man. Work. Act like you want it, man. You know what I'm saying? It's a privilege that you have that talent, but talent only gets you there. Their hard work continue to keep you there, man. And these guys don't know that, and ain't nobody in their ears telling these people that. I blame people like Allen Houston and all that. Allen Houston is a 6'7" shooting guard just like Knox. He's supposed to have him up under his wing. That's why I say we need to clear out all them suits and ties, man.
But look, Allen Houston is running Westchester, bro.
Right.
Listen, Allen Houston is running Westchester. You saying don't bring him in the G League? That's Allen Houston.
He can run it, but just telling them what to do is not. Now you got to show them guys, man. Show them guys what they're doing. Take them one-on-one with it, man. Not in a team-orient, man. That's what we missing, man. We're missing a lot of that, man. We need that, man. Them people, man. Rod Strickland and all them type dudes, man. Up there in New York. You ain't calling these guys? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on. But besides that, man, you're doing a great job, man. We appreciate love you, man, for what you're doing, man.
Appreciate
you keep us on our toes, man.
Appreciate it, Jay.
To you, man. For real.
Appreciate it, man. And hope you're doing all right, man. Appreciate it, bro. Yeah, I mean, listen, I can't tell you that they're not working hard. From what you see from the videos and everything, Knox is working. I was at Summer League. Knox was there. He's playing hard. He's playing hard in Summer League. I just think some of these guys need more coaching. These guys are leaving fresh, 18 years old, man. A lot of these guys are not ready. They need to utilize the G League. Siakam was in the G League damn near his whole rookie year, damn near. And if there's a Raptor fan in the chat, I'm wrong, correct me. But I believe he was in there damn near his whole rookie year. They had Sekou start off his rookie year in the G League. Yes, no, these guys were not lottery picks like Knox. but put him in there. Put him in there to work on his game, work on his awareness, work on his shot, get confidence back in his jumper. You know, learn how to use his body to initiate that contact in the lane instead of just throwing it up for a prayer. Working on a go-to move. So I think they should utilize it that way. I would definitely put ISO out there to work on his weaknesses. What is he doing up here? He's not even playing. And I think this guy has potential. So you mentioned Allen Houston. Hopefully we get to interview Allen Houston next. And I definitely want to ask him that. Like, what is the strategy? Well, it's hard to even say that now with the new regime, right? So I don't even know if that's even a good question to ask because so much is in flux. But, you know, that's what I want to know. Like, can we get these guys to develop in the right way? Or is the right way having them watch these vets? You know, I think it's a mix. I think it's a balance. All right, couple more calls. Will from LI. What's good, Will?
Hey, CC, what's going on, man? What's happening?
Chilling, bro. How you feeling?
Good. Yo, shout out to JL for holding it down on Sunday, and then not Sunday, Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
And then CK2K for joining on yesterday. Yep. So listen, man, I wanted to talk to you about Leon Rose, right? I want to know because I know he has to lose all his clients. He has to drop everything, all the bureaucracy and all that before he can officially take the job. Mm-hmm. But when he officially takes the job, right, and he gets his press conference, what do you want him to say? What do you want him to say about the direction of the team? Do you think as an agent, knowing talent and like knowing free agents and all of that, because like you said, stargazing, right? Mm-hmm. He has that as an asset. Do you think that he will commit to a full rebuild, playing the young guys, playing the guys and letting them grow, or going through, players that obviously he has an eye for talent. He can probably tell that there's free agents out there that could probably bring him in.
I want them to communicate, and that's going to be the question. I want them to be committed to the rebuild. Stick with the rebuild. I don't want them to say, oh, we're going to turn things around fast, or we're going to expedite this thing and things like what Steve Stout is saying. We're going to be aggressive. Okay, yeah, be aggressive, but remember that the foundation still has to come through the draft, meaning we still have to scout the right players, pick the right players, and coach them up and build those assets.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and one more question, and it kind of sidetracked. What did you think of David Fisdale's comments about what he learned about being a coach?
You know what? Good segue, bro. Because I was just gonna get into it. So let me play it. I'm gonna play it for the chat. I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to hear it or not, but you heard it already. So I'm gonna play it for the chat.
No worries.
Probably needed.
I'll leave you off on that.
Okay.
Probably needed.
All right.
Crack the whip a little more, and be more demanding of the young guys to do more winning things, and not be as patient with them from that standpoint. So it was a balance of just trying to find the right lane with each team. But I do think that ultimately, when I do get my next chance, is what I did take from it is I have to be myself throughout all of it. And I can't be Pop. I can't be Spo. I can't be Brad. I just have to be myself, be comfortable in that skin, and be genuine to the guys. And, that usually comes off well.
Yeah, I mean, this was Fisdale's comments on SiriusXM Radio about what he learned about his coaching opportunity for the Knicks that we translate to the Knicks. I think, he wants to talk about accountability. Yes, I would definitely say accountability was one of those things, but it was a lot of it was just the X's and O's. A lot of it was just the X's and O's, just being out-coached. The timeout situation, not having the proper rotations out there. I just thought all those things were very much lacking. Those things were lacking. Listen, he started Kevin Knox for a good portion of last year. you know, he wants to talk about that, but I think he's got to talk about his execution. You know, his in-game chess match that he was, a lot of times he was on the losing end of. The system, so on and so forth. You know, these guys, somebody said lack of preparation. Yeah, you know, these guys just did not look prepared on most nights. And he was here for a year and a half. He was here for a year and a half. So, as Berman said, he's about to go down as the coach with the worst record in Knicks history. So, I'm not sure what those winning things were, but... And I don't know. Let's see. You know, let's see if he gets another shot. I wish him well. I don't wish him no ill will on him. But I'm not sure. You know what those winning things were, because we certainly didn't see it here. You know, we certainly were not seeing it here. So I have no idea. A couple more calls. Chris from Charlotte. What's going on, bro?
Hey, what's up, CP, man?
How you feeling, man?
Good. Hey, first of all, man, thank you for giving the people what they want. You always on time with that, brother.
Appreciate it. No problem.
Dope interview.
Thanks, man.
Dope interview. Hey, first of all, what I want to say is I don't want Miller for the new coach. I'm just going to be straight up honest with you. I mean, he's been doing a good job, but I think it's time to get a coach in here that's going to, because, I mean, you look at it, Mitch and Kev and Frank, now they getting ready to go on like they second, third, fourth coach. I mean, we got to get somebody in here and get it stable. Like I talked about the other day, just stability. We got to get it stable. You know what I mean? Don't want Coach Thibodeau. Start a hashtag no to Thibodeau. Don't want him.
Yeah, you look at Thibodeau. You know his reputation was running the young guys into the ground in Minnesota. And I don't know. Some people say that they were just soft. Right. Townsend was just soft, but you know, I'm not sure, because he had that same reputation with the Bulls as well. But you know, I don't know, man. I'd rather Van Gundy.
Well, no matter what, whoever they bring in, it's going to be a tough job for them anyway, because you got to try to find that nice mix of veterans and getting our young guys. Yeah. You know, getting the quality minutes and getting them. It's going to be tough for whoever you bring in, but I just definitely don't want him. And I agree with some of the calls as far as them, the young guys putting in work. My only thing is, man, I just feel like they're not mentally tough. You know what I mean? I mean, they got the physical skills and stuff like that, athleticism, but I think a lot of them are just mentally tough, and that could be from Fizdale. I mean, some of the stuff that he was doing, you know, could have weakened them mentally, but that's all I see. I don't want to see videos in this off season of these guys working out by themselves in the gym. Yeah. Go to California, do the Rico Hines run, something like, you know what I mean? Get in there with some other players from the NBA and get out there and work. That's what it comes down to, man. Yeah. But anyway, I appreciate you taking my call.
Appreciate it, Chris. Much appreciated, man. But you know, to disagree with Chris though, you know, he wants stability, but then he wants to get Miller out of here. To me, I just think like with Van Gundy, he's a lot older. Is this again the right situation for him? Or is this a Fizdale situation? Would Van Gundy, and I'm just throwing Van Gundy out there because, you know, Berman talked about it as a potential. But would Fizz have that? I mean, would Van Gundy have that patience for this? You know, because if you don't get this team turned around right away with star power, it's going to take some time. This team is going to take their lumps next year and probably the year after that if you're not getting stars in here. So is Van Gundy a long-term coach, or is he the coach that you want to take once a Miller gets you to a certain level? You know, that's why I think Miller's the guy that just, we want to get to the max. And then once you say, all right, Miller, he can't really get us over that hump, then you turn to the next guy. I don't know. I'm not sure if Van Gundy's the one that's going to have the patience for this. Remember when he left? In 2002, and I'm sure there was a lot of politics and everything why he did that. There was a lot of stress. It was a lot of stress because the team was clearly going nowhere. But is he going to have the patience for it? You know, as much as I love him as a coach and what he did for us, is he going to have the patience to build young? He's never done that. He took over for Don Nelson. That team was a win-now team. You know, he went to the Rockets, or T-Mac, Yao Ming. That team was a win-now team. I mean, they weren't realistically going to win anything, but you know what I mean? They were a playoff team. So Van Gundy's never really been a rebuild coach. So let's see what happens. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Let's go to let's close this out with Charlie from New York. Charlie, how you feeling, man?
What's good, man? Big time fan, man. Charlie Brown doing on Between Sports or Hate. I want to talk about a few things real quick. Back on the Fizdale. I kind of felt Fizdale was going to work out for one main reason, player development. And Memphis, he didn't really show that. And when he was coming to the Knicks, as you can see, if we didn't make no stupid trades or silly signings, we're going to stay relatively young. We needed somebody who was going to bring in a system, make our team have an identity again. We've been lacking identity for a long time. And when we came out there, it was like freestyle ball. And on top of that, he didn't let our young guys make mistakes. You know, if you look at Atlanta, Memphis, they're letting their young guys ball out, and they get to see who's talented and who's not, who can be a role player, who we can get rid of. I mean, look at OKC with Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, we didn't see that until Westbrook left. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I didn't think he did a great part when it came to player development, and the change of rotation was just a little too much. Like you said, he started Knox, but then he stopped once Knox made a little mistake. And Knox, as you can see, is very timid. He's not aggressive. He has the skills there. Don't get it twisted. He could definitely ball out, but he doesn't have that fire. And we need a coach that can light a flame under our players, because we have talented players. We need to use them a little better. For example, I don't believe we should have Randall shooting so many jump shots, bringing up the ball sometimes. I mean, he flourished in New Orleans because they used him in the right system, bully ball. They knew he was a strong guy, back you down, and score in the paint. We got to use our players better than what they're capable of. You know, I like Mike Miller, but like you said, right now, somewhat he could do the building the fundamental blocks for us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I don't believe he's our long term. I don't believe in Jeff Van Gundy either. You brought in a very interesting point, which is why you can kind of probably pick Tibbs over Jeff Van Gundy just because he has the experience with younger players. He teaches defense, which we play really horrible defense. And I believe he could probably get our players going. The only thing is, will he bring drama?
Yeah.
It's sort of like, if it's not Mark Jackson, you got to go with Mike Miller. You know what I'm saying? Jeff Van Gundy, like you said, will he have the patience? Will he play the young guys? Hopefully he wouldn't be a Larry Brown kind of guy, you know, who doesn't believe in playing the young guys. Hey, let's bring in some veterans, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing.
He's never been a rebuild coach.
Never been a rebuild coach. And appreciate the call, man. Appreciate the call, bro. Yeah, he's never been a rebuild coach. That's the only thing, you know? The thing about Miller, like I said yesterday, somebody had brought that point up was, you know, Miller seems to be a pretty good X's and O's guy, but is he a motivator? Is he the guy that's going to get Knox, you know, to take it to another level, to be a dog, be aggressive, and get on him when he's not? You know Thibodeau's going to do that. You know Mark Jackson will do that. You know Van Gundy will do that. But is that in Mike Miller's character to do so? So we'll see. Again, all good conversation to be had, and there's going to be some decisions to be made, but never a dull moment in Knicks land, man. But appreciate everybody for joining tonight. Back Wednesday, Knicks versus Wizards at home at the Garden. Let's see if they can rebound from last night's tough double OT loss. So to everybody that joined in, hit that thumbs up button on your way out. Remember, this show is available in audio podcast format, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon Alexa, and Stitcher, all on the KnicksFanTV. If you're an iTunes guy, please leave us a review. It would go a long way. Very much appreciated. Please subscribe to the channel. It's free to do so. We're on our war path to 20,000 subscribers. Right now, we're looking at 17,400. I want to hit 20,000 before the season is up, so tell a friend. Share these videos. Share it on Facebook. Share it on Twitter. Text your friend. If there's a Knicks fan in here that you know that does not know about this show, text them right now with this link. Let them know. Listen, we just had Mark Berman on New York Post. We're talking news. We're talking rumors. Share these videos. It would go a long way, man. So definitely appreciate it. Let me shout out some people in the chat. Anthony Parasol, how you feeling? Thanks for coming on. Nino Brown checking in from, I think he's out in Serbia, somewhere like that. So shout out Nino Brown. Andrew Peoples, appreciate it. Everybody watching on Facebook, thank you very much. Twitch, all of that. Pal, appreciate you for calling in. NYK Gunner, John Talento, always in here, one of the first ones in here. So, good show, everybody. Jack Peters, appreciate you. Charles Barkley in here, Apple fanboy. Gotta be legend, checking in from Costa Rica. Peace, it's me, peace. All the mods, thanks a lot. And we'll see you, man. Krillian's Under Low, welcome to the channel. See you guys Wednesday night. Peace.